Hey, it's Everett's Live Music on the 8th of June, 2024. Good morning. It's been alright so far. It's warm here. Moving through the first of the big heat wave, of the year. And following up on the message that I left out of my last, and just can't seem to shake the bushes here and get much of a response on some of the stuff. I thought maybe the Putin comment would get something coming back, And I hope for those things a little bit to one degree or another, for maybe the ghost in the machine or any listener that'll grab on here, man. Let's, we need to talk as a people that are being sold out for so long. But like for the Putin comment, I'm not against Putin. I'm not. I live in the Vegas Valley in the United States of America, part of the Cotusola tribe, and I don't weigh in heavy on a lot of that stuff. I won't give myself to it. I try to take what I can, and if I was, given the opportunity to make opinions on the matter, I might do that. I was mentioning the kid the other day about NATO. And that's, to me, I would imagine, isn't that supposed to be like the Avengers of the world or something? It seems like so often, though, even though that is like, the alliance, the great alliance of many countries. And, like a peacekeeping unit too, but they are provided with, military aid and such. I just don't understand, like, some of the stuff that happens, and I can't get involved too much. I don't understand how you fight wars sometimes the way they do, and it's considered some kind of like not an all-out war, but more of a I don't know, like an exercise or something, and then you go back and forth, and it's like Ukraine's got to get help, and well, they get it, and then the help runs out, and then we decide, are we going to give you some more? I mean, it really seems weird to me, man. All of that scene does, the whole scene. I did mention, like, Putin. I can't imagine somebody that stays in power forever, but I don't really know about how things go there. And I'm not totally against different kinds of government, a different way of living. I support the idea of it. Just not certain dictatorships. And, even the word there, dictatorship, yeah, I wouldn't want it, I don't like the fascist way of life, where you're forced into following along with what the government has decided for you, and normally that would be spearheaded, I imagine, by one person. That's weird to me that we even have governments that way. I try to imagine our government, even the United States of America. Yes, there's a president, but he has a cabinet. I would think you'd share everything with the cabinet, especially your vice president. But I don't know. I don't even get to go there. We get told what we get told. So with stuff like that, I look back in the beginning of that Russia invasion, and if the rumors were right in the news we were receiving, even the most upstanding citizens of that, nearest to Putin and his government, were saying don't invade. Doctors, lawyers, whatever it might be. I mean, prominent people throughout the community. I don't understand that, and I don't know the details of it. I don't approve of it totally at all. Killing people for what? Because you believe that's like used to be yours and now you're taking it back. It's really weird, and we've been fighting each other for so long. I'm so disappointed in that, and if I got involved, it would be hard for, I imagine, Putin to convince me at all that what you're doing is some form of out of love, like what, like someone beating someone and saying this is going to hurt you, hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. Would you try to sell a story like that to me? I probably wouldn't buy that story at all, man. No way. No way in hell. And I don't know why it happens the way it does. So, now with Netanyahu, and the Israeli invasion of the Gaza Strip there and Palestinians. I mean, they went in there full throttle. So, I mean, if you're going to attack. I don't like it. I don't know what to say to that. There's senators and stuff from our country, and there's people that are supposed to partake in embassies around the world, and then they inform our government and our people, and then that's supposed to be returned to us in the best informative manner, so we can at least understand. But I try not to weigh in too heavy, and I expect our government and our people around the world that are in those positions to act accordingly. But that would be one thing, like if, coming back to me on that last message out and then maybe mentioning the rich people of our country, because that's where I'd like to stay within, like, the problems and stuff is in my country at this time. And then we have other things set up to handle the outside world and to interact with the rest of the world. And hopefully provide aid when needed at times, and different political support or whatever it might be for a free world. But to live in a free world, I mean, we don't really in the United States neither. I mean, we're beholden to the dollar, and our people are not investing in our people. So those in the higher up ranks and those with all the money, I mean, you've employed some people, and I pick on anyone. I mean, how do some people have so much more than everyone else? You don't even invest in your people in life. No wonders artificial intelligence and robots are coming, because for so long, man, it's been that way. Like, it's such a big gap between the guy that's running the show, right, or owns it. I own everything, What is that? And then the workers, right? And you're so far apart on how much you're making in life and what your future might be like financially for security as we try to buy everything, right? We sell healthcare. Like, isn't it a right, dude? If we went back for the mental health, I mean, just the idea that you're lesser of a person because you can't afford stuff is a beginning to it all. And there's some people with so much money. It's not their fault they have so much money. They would say it's exactly my fault because I'm amazing and I know how to play the game. I know how to play Monopoly really well. I'm really good at the game life. I've won every time. I have stacks of money when everybody else loses. I win every time, right? I mean, it's just weird to me the way we do life. So it isn't like Taylor Swift's fault. It's not Robert De Niro's fault. I don't know these people. I would say, though, too, like, for the rich people, like, so anybody that weighs in, like, on a Donald Trump thing, and I don't know Donald Trump, so I take what information I can, and I've seen some of this stuff, and I'm like, I can't believe this is still going on. So, but some people actually know him a little bit. I would think, like, De Niro, maybe, being from New York, but I didn't listen to any of his stuff. But I'm just saying, is like, some people have so much money. Have you ever really, 2 people in our country have more than half the population? That's like mind-boggling to me, between Bezos and Musk. And then, I mean, we're not even including the Bill Gates and the Oracle, and there's so many others too that are billionaires and stuff, So I think we fail our people miserably. And they would say, well, I can't invest in the people. The people won't listen. But what do you mean they won't listen? They won't. What's happening, like, with that? Why does one person have to, like, run some giant thing? And maybe sometimes there is a lot of people that are like the 1 in 8 billion person. You could weigh back in on that a little bit. I mean, I got to kind of have the conversation myself here because I'm not getting the feedback. But I'm leaving these out here, and I'll have a trail of recordings that I've tried, man, for our people. Because I see some senators really trying, or at least when they speak, I hear their words, and I think they do speak for our people at times. Sheldon Whitehouse and Bernie Sanders, and it's not to say that I'm rooting for the Democratic Party or something. I'm just saying that they're saying the things that need to be said. How unfair things have been for so long. Will it ever be fair again? I don't know. And with the new technology coming, you're really just not going to need people that much. So there might be like a breaking point where there's a huge gap, like or the gap even gets bigger. Which is unfortunate that we're not investing in one another. I don't think we really ever have as humanity, as that I've ever seen. I've never seen that be like the most important thing. I mean, right now, look at what's happening with let me go over this one again. They got and I mentioned this too on the last one. I'm like, you really think like illegal aliens are the most important thing? How did the illegal aliens start? I've done this point of view before. We drove the Mexicans out of the United States and secured the border at one point, right? After the Civil War and after the moving west all the way, and it was decided we would take everything from coast to coast, and succeeded in it. Mexico would argue that California was part of theirs, and I'm sure like Texas and different areas where some of those battles were fought when then we got into the Spanish American War and stuff, and or when we fought the Mexicans. And sometimes some of my dates aren't perfect because I'm not researching this, because I'm not doing a report. The idea is to get the conversations going. But for illegal immigrants, okay, at one point this border was secured, and through military force, it was enforcement. It was repeatedly, secured. And then as we developed our society around this capitalism and stuff, right? And the years went past. Hundreds of years now, right? And here we are. It's really sad to hear so many people say the Mexicans took my job. Because a Mexican didn't take your job. What some people would find to be like, well, I'm an American. Okay, let's call you an American. I think Mexicans are Americans too, and so are Canadians. But anyways, let's stick with like the words we've been using. An American paid the Mexican to work for them for cash, and to cheat the tax system and everything around it, and to bypass employing other Americans, white people, right? Whites, blacks. Most of the time it would have been white, I think, at one point. But it wasn't the Mexicans. They didn't reinvade. They just kept coming because there was work. And any way they could, they were going to get across the border into America, as you'd like to, in the United States of America. And if they could find a job, they'd have a better life than they had on the other side of the border, because it is rough down there. But this whole idea of the difference, and then I do remember Biden saying, in the beginning of his administration, why do people from Central America and why are you leaving your home? It's because we failed our people as a whole in a humanitarian way. Their infrastructure and stuff is it's not real good, man. The running water and stuff, from what I've heard. So in areas, and then the violence and the crimes and the drugs, and who wants the drugs? Well, the people from the United States of America. The Americans want the drugs. And what has happened over time is now, I don't even agree with the idea of just singling this out, but just don't, to me, ever tell me that Mexicans took the jobs and they ruined the way of life for an Americans. I can't agree with it, because at one time there was people that just wanted that damn money, dude. And you're willing to pay the Mexican a hell of a lot less than you would have to pay the American to do that work, and you're willing to compromise it all, and then you're going to blame it on the Mexican. And we like buy it as people. We're like, yeah, close the border, secure the border. And by now, I couldn't argue anymore, because enough people came to the United States of America from Mexico illegally, and from Central America illegally, and from like all places around the world. I mean, this has been going on. It's not like the Asians didn't do it neither, by the boatload, dump them off into the harbors, and people hire them. Our own people that have been the ones with the money have helped make this happen. You cannot blame the lower class, and you cannot blame the Mexicans. If you look back east where I grew up, in like the, in the days of the end of the days of building cars in the United States, before they all closed their doors and moved on to somewhere else, they left some of it open, but I believe the workers wanted a lot. They wanted more. Why do some people get so much more than others? Really, why? What makes you so much worth another human being? And to watch the collapse of our people and our societies, and then to just watch. And those with money, you can't just fix it. Can't you just admit? We can't even get on the same page with the real issues at hand, and that's what's killing us. We argue about climate change and stuff, and the idea that there's a mass extinction going on the planet. There's no argument. I'm glad to see some of the stuff. There are some improvements. There are. I think it's going to be a little too late, because we're just going to hold dear to that dollar, man. If we can't put a dollar on it and figure it out, it's just the way of life that's been developed. It does not work, man, and it causes so much trouble, man. And I don't know what else to say. So, like, when you tell me that you're closing the border and you're going to deport more people than you've ever deported, okay. I think you ought to go down there and take a bunch of supplies down there. And I've said before, you could use it as a military exercise for our military in a professional manner, without the intent of killing a bunch of people that are trying to cross the border. You're going to turn them back. We're going to work with the Mexican government. I don't know, send down supplies and build a little town. Have the people that are trying to get to the United States right there on the edge of the river somewhere where they can drill for a well. Is it going to be a sustainable amount of water that can you build a little town, a refugee camp or something for them? They can build it themselves if we had people perhaps that have come from Central America or have come from Mexico maybe, and they've learned these skills throughout their time in the United States of America, and there's probably some in Mexico too, right, that have learned these skills, and they go up there in order to help their people, our people. They're all our people to me. It's not like some other people, like they're not fucking aliens to me from another planet. They're from Earth. We're all in this together. I did try to share that on the last one too, man. We're only as fast as our slowest. We're only as strong as our weakest. Only as smart as the dumbest. Come on, man. But when I see some of the others trying, I'm going to keep trying too, and I'm going to leave myself open left and right, and let's hear somebody hit back on me like some of these issues, and let's get through the and try to spread a word of what we need to do, man. We have to change the way we're living. We have to evolve. We have to take responsibility for our actions. See the past for what it really is. Know the mistakes and start to make a great effort to correct things and quit trying to blame it on someone else. Every time, man. I just can't imagine how some people have so much. It's not I'm against Taylor Swift thing. I'm not for or against her. I don't know Taylor and I don't follow her. But there's a large following, and I would think she has a great impact on a lot of people. I would imagine the same for like Robert De Niro. Because some people can't separate the idea of they're an actor or they're a musician, right? And you're a performer, so you put on an act for people. Remember that. That's all they've done. It is their job to get you to believe. That's what they've been doing. And some of them are really good, right? Some of them are like the 1 in the 8 billion. We all are. And maybe not everyone can do everyone's job always, but like just, I don't understand how some have so much and the rest are struggling so hard. So many. Is it just because so many of the lower class or something, right? It's just beyond so many people in like some of the inner cities. It's going to be tough, man. That would be like that's going to be the front lines of it all. But are they really that bad of a person? Are they really incapable of what? I mean, because for what we've done with life, I mean, if you can't make enough money, then, come on. Obviously, you just didn't apply yourself enough in life. You didn't work hard enough. You didn't try hard enough. You wasted your time in this and that. In a lot of it's BS, dude. But there is a great deal of it, and the thing that happens, I think a lot of people get broken inside one way or another. They've been hurt, and they miss out, and then the people that can't afford the care that they need and stuff, I mean, eventually you just say, the heck with any of it. I mean, why wouldn't you follow the rules anyways? Especially when the upper government just keeps borrowing money all the time, and the debt gets bigger and bigger. Our debt never gets smaller. And you hear that the politicians are collecting on the stock market at a rate that no one else is. I mean, they're doing so well, and then the next level is like down here. But however many of these stories are true that I hear, I don't play the stock market, but I understand what you're saying. They're probably getting inside information at one time or another, and it's going to be in order for them to invest money in certain commodities or stocks or bonds or, whatever, metals or, whatever it might be. Again, the whole idea being money. This is very disappointing to me and always will be. That's how we see life. But, I mean, I really think, and the idea too, man, like that all the technology that came, I mean, we didn't vote on this. We're just being made to be a part of it. So it happens right in front of us that those with the money and with the power that control all this technology, right, will be laying the road in front of us. And not only that, they're going to make robots and artificial intelligence in order to, if need be, replace us. I think we're going to be replaced anyways to one degree or another. I don't understand why, as a people, we do not, see this. How does it happen? And so much of the technology and so much of what we use now, I mean, you got to have security and you got to have all this other stuff that goes with it. And you're constantly, compromised at one level or another for security. And for us, the poor and stuff, I mean, it's the worst. I mean, I got some computer that's so old, and, I hired a guy to come debug it one time, and he comes to fix the computer, and by the time he leaves, the computer's broke. It doesn't work, and he said it was this or that, and then I reboot and I get it going again. He wanted to take the computer and sell me another one really cheap, a replacement, but I was like, I don't understand. That was a weird one, and like, I'm not going to ask you to come back. I'm not going to call you, and I paid I paid the fee to have him come, but I'm not gonna bring you back to work on it again. So I ended up trying to fix it myself, and I got it. I'm still using it, but I have quite a few of those stories, and it's unfortunate for some of us that are the poor and stuff. I mean, our voice isn't even heard a lot of the time, and for a struggling small business, a sole proprietor, it's just me, so I don't have any support for this business, and construction can be a dog-eat-dog world. I've had people tamper with my jobs and customers' jobs and stuff. In fact, I was just at a job the other day, and this is part of, like, if you hesitate about, like, what we're doing at times, because there's variables and unforeseen things happen, contingencies that you don't plan for these things to happen, but certain, things come down the line and they disrupt the unit, or somebody tampers with the unit. A lot of the time it's homeless here, especially in the summer. They're going to use the water. They'll use these backflow devices for water, man, because you're in the desert and you're homeless. And we got quite a few here, maybe not as many as California, but we have our share too. I'm very disturbed when I find that they have been tampered with in a way that would restrict water flow for fighting fires. And I have found it more than a couple times, and that's very disturbing that people would do that. Whether it's to try and make somebody else look bad, or maybe it's just a homeless playing with a device and they don't know what they're doing, but that all goes back to the money thing, man, because or maybe you want more business and you're trying to cut the other guy's throat or something, and it really does happen at times. And they'll tell you to cover your ass in the business and stuff, but you can only cover so much, and I'm not going to take videos of everything. I'm not. There's times, though, when I get the customer out there, I'll just show them and stuff what's done, and let it be, man, because I've been doing this since '08, and I haven't personally been filed against that I know of. So I'm just trying to keep that going. And when I find the stuff, make my customers aware of it and try to secure the devices to prevent people from tampering with it, however it might be happening. But it is the unfortunate reality of what we do, and kind of like the result of the society we live in to a degree, And nothing's ever going to be perfect. It's not. It's just life. So, and unforeseen things happen, and things that you can't explain happen at times. The other day I went to a job, right, and the thing's leaking. So I'm like, I'll blow a hydrant out, right? So I blow out a hydrant, and that runs a bunch of water, like massive water through the device, a large amount of water, to clear out any debris that's causing the unit to leak. It has to do with the idea of doors not shutting tight, and that's what we do in this business. Is we want our doors to shut tight, and then we want them to open properly when we ask for it to open. So you have those things, but I'm there, and I actually took the kid on the job that day. Like, she rode along with me, and she just gets to watch. But I showed her, and I blew it out really good, right? And then I go over to the unit, and it's not leaking anymore. I get the leak to totally stop, and then I hook up my gauge, and I check all the doors. The 3 doors are all holding tight, and they're holding at acceptable levels, readings for differential pressure between these certain areas of the device. And then I go to open it up, right? Let the water come through again into the customers, because I had to shut it off for a second to do my test properly. So I got a passing test. So what I do is I open it all the way, right? By the time I let the water, and then I get it open all the way, and then I close it again one more time just to see. Because if the doors are open, you won't always see a leak, because somebody's using the water down the line, and it doesn't reflect what's happening inside the device. This might be hard for you to follow, but what I'm trying to say is we had fixed it. There's no leaks. I got an acceptable test, and then I turned the water on to the customers, and when I shut the door again just to make sure everything was holding, it didn't. So somehow something slipped through the door and got in the way of the seals again. It's just not everything is going to always be perfect. So some things are not hard to explain at times, but there are other issues that come to play in life, and it's like not cool, man, that we do this to one another at times in some fields, and in the way we're at competition and dog eat dog world, and there's only room for one at the top. And when I get into some of those that have so much money, I'm not exactly sure how. First we got to talk. I would think that, like, as a people, we have to all agree on certain issues, right? Some people have way too much money, and it's really unfair. It just is. then we have to agree. The population is growing, and it's too many. And that the planet is reacting in a negative manner for our future due to the activity of us on the planet and what we do as a species in our lives. This directly affects everything else. So I'm just like, I'm at odds. Like, I don't know what to say, because most of the time we can't even all agree on this stuff. And someone wants to argue that it is fair. It's just not. It never has been. And these are the things that are happening are just the result of the way we live, man. It's not anything else. It's because of the way we live. And what we're willing to do to one another for money, and what we're willing to do to one another for power, or sex, or drugs, or whatever it might be, man, at times. And most of it's just going to be the money to start and the power, because that's going to get everything else. And the inability to see life as like, it's your right to be alive, and get proper health care and stuff, and then a place to live and stuff. Unless you're a menace to society, shouldn't everybody, and to some, that's like why I don't come down on communist countries or socialist countries. And I don't think, like, when I think of communism, I'm like, nah, probably not. I think of like the rumors I get about China, and then I think about like North Korea, and then I think about like Russia, and I don't think, a lot of the time I think of those three as like places I'd want to move to. But the idea of everybody having a fair amount, sure, I like that idea. So you could call it whatever you want, make up some new name, nationalism or something. That's what we do. You can call it whatever you want. Once you can stop getting so caught up, don't you take away my capitalist society. But capitalism has been, it's just not. It's not even in the Constitution that we have to be a capitalist society. What is in there is about it being a little bit more fair for everyone. That part is definitely in there. So check out some of that stuff, man. And I'm just doing a shout out today. I'm going to let all this go, but we just went past, man, like the biggest part of the year for me for like my messages, because it was Wildlife Day, and then we moved through our Earth Day and Arbor Day, and we had Memorial Day, and just now the D-Day, and that's, I mean, for me, like, I think we fail our people. We fail our people miserably. It's not, we're not doing well. Maybe we're trying at one point or another, and the presidents can't say a lot of stuff, because you're running for president, so you have to tell us what we want to hear. Now, you do want to definitely be honest and face some of the facts, but a lot of the time, it's like you get caught up, because, I mean, what else are you going to do? So we as the people have to bring this message as a whole. This is what we're talking about. This is what we want. We have to help support some of the people that are standing up. Bernie Sanders gets out there and swings away, man. I'm not all for money, but I'm definitely for a guy that's going to stand up there and just call it for what it is. Senator Whitehouse, I mean, he's been going after this climate thing for so long, and now, and when you get these Trump cases and stuff, let the judges in our system do what it's supposed to do. I'm happy you find out these things about these people, and then we try to right the wrong. So if you have a judge in the Supreme Court and things are going on there, and you're flying these flags and you're showing a level of bias that is unacceptable, especially at the Supreme Court level, at any level for a judge, man. Just disturbing, and you see the reality of what probably happens for so many people all the way down the line, dude. Everybody's been, so many people have been compromised throughout our history, and we've never really turned and fought against it as a whole. Instead, we fight for the more of the same way, and when we make changes, it takes forever. This is long-winded again. Peace. Shoot. something back. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Say something back. Good, bad, ugly, I'm down with it. Fighting for a better tomorrow, man, today. I'm trying.